Hi folks, I'm Brian Hoffman. This is English II, and I want to tell you a bit about the course and my teaching style, and some of my philosophy about learning and teaching, and about why the study of literature is important.
Hi, welcome to Princeton High School's Back to School Night this year. I'm Ms. Xu, and I'm a student teacher in Mr. Hoffman's English II classes. So as a student teacher, some of the ways that I've been helping out have been taking attendance, creating breakout rooms, and helping out with planning. And next week, I'm going to be teaching a lesson once a week. And after several weeks, I'm going to be teaching a mini unit for several weeks. And that will basically wrap up my student teaching for the fall. Mr. Hoffman and I are so excited to welcome you into our virtual classroom this year. And even though we can't meet in person, we hope that this video will give you a good sense of our curriculum and also our goals for the class. We'll also be having 2 Q&A sessions, and so we'll hope you'll attend one of those. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope you have a nice day.
Reading is the foundation of the course because it gives us something to weigh and consider. It also gives us something to write about. So we will generate our ideas and our essays and short stories and creative writing from the literature that we've read, at least as an inspiration. This first poem that we're looking at here is, we call it Red Men Embraced because we've taken away the title. This is a really neat poem because it's in the form of an Anglo-Saxon riddle, and the answer to the riddle is the title. So one neat thing it does, this poem has the ability to prove to students, show students who may feel that they can't do literature, can't find insights, that they really can. And oftentimes students who say that they are more math, science oriented will gravitate toward a riddle like this, and when they figure out the riddle, we can then go backwards and say, all right, so here are the quote literary things that you did in order to get to that answer. I'm quickly becoming a huge fan of Jamboard. That's the program we're using here. Miss Xu, the student teacher working with us this semester, spearheaded this, and I couldn't thank her enough for pointing it out to me. As you can see, the students have gotten quite a lot out of the poem, and this is only our second week, and we talked about the poem just a little bit last week. They seem to be taking our advice. They're reading it, rereading it. You can see in some of these sticky notes that their thinking is pretty advanced, and we are also quick to point out that so-called, quote, wrong answers are useful, and we have introduced the class as more of an experimental place, a laboratory, if you will, and it's not so much that we want to worry about wrong answers. It's just that we want to be in an inquisitive mind state, and that's really the critical piece. In addition to reading Night by Elie Wiesel, All Quiet on the Western Front, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, I'm excited to be bringing this book back. First They Killed My Father is a text that I piloted last year, and the students really got a lot out of it. This is chronicles the Cambodian genocide, one person's experience as a child surviving Cambodian genocide. And the students, the good news is that the students and I are able to extract human triumph out of texts like these. And I'm also excited about, as we study human misery and suffering and the awful things that we can do to each other, there is a flip side to it. And the flip side is there are meaningful ways using social justice and other methods to combat hatred, racism, bigotry of any kind. Writing is ongoing. Students will write a lot of things in their journals, in their notebooks, for themselves at our encouragement. They'll be doing a combination of creative writing, analytical writing, personal writing, reader response. Typically, there will be about 1 or 2 analytical pieces,
Each
sort of
quarter.
the standard bread and butter of an English class, but also really emphasize the creative writing angle, because when we engage in creative writing, we get to practice and see how an author or a poet could create the nuance and the meaning that is in the work that we find in the works we study in this class. Communication is a critical component to any English class. At the very least, we need to be good communicators, effective communicators in just about every aspect of our lives. So an English class is a great place to hone these skills. But furthermore, we want students to collaborate with each other and, quite frankly, to teach each other things that they understand. So each student comes with different skills and different understandings and different life experience, and all that together makes for really rich conversation. So one method we use is the Socratic seminar, where we use questioning to get at the quote, deeper meanings, the messages of the texts, the structures, the structural elements, and things like that. You may have seen I sent a physical letter home just before school started, and most students should have received it. The only ones who might not have is if they joined the class after I sent them out. But in the letter, I expressed two of the many important things that there are about this class and about school right now. One was that I have a fear, and my concern, the thing that keeps me up at night more than anything else, is when a student stops communicating or isn't doing well and is not seeking help or accepting help when offered. So I have respectfully asked students the first day. In the letter, I expressly asked them to please not to hesitate to ask for help or make a suggestion for something that could work better for them, and to not hesitate to speak up. In class the first day, everyone seemed very energetic, and they agreed then at least to, through a thumbs up, to stay in touch with me throughout the year and to let me know if they're ever going to have a difficult time getting to class or with any of the material. So then the second thing I wanted to say to them is, and I want to say this to you, is that I have no concern, I have no doubt that your child is going to excel this year if they do the things that I suggest. And it's not that I have some special method, it's just the things that we're going to do are very straightforward in some ways, and those straightforward approaches are going to help us to unlock some very difficult aspects of the texts that we're going to study. In addition to reading well, we want to be well-rounded, and so we want to be able to speak well, listen well, and write well. And on the topic of writing, we're going to be doing analytical and creative tasks. I am a firm believer that writing in a creative style is a critical component to a person's development as a critical thinker. And really, in addition, it helps us to see kind of through the eyes of an author, poet, playwright, memoirist. It's one thing to read what they do and try to figure out how they're doing it and the nuances they've put in there, and it's quite another thing altogether to do the creation ourselves. So one of my favorite types of assignments to give is a creative writing, and then ask the students to do some analysis of their own work so that they can demonstrate some of the things that they've learned, and it's kind of fun.